All right, I've stiffened my suspension a whole bunch. We're gonna do one full lap here.
Okay, you probably noticed I cut and pasted a little bit of video here. I started on the track alone, and after I looked at some of my footage, I thought, you know what, it's kind of funner seeing a bunch of other people in the footage too, so here you go. Anyways, this is my legit track review of the 23 Beta 300RR Race Edition. The Race Edition has got KYB suspension and a couple other little goodies. We won't get into that. I really just wanted to go over how this bike felt on a track at, you know, old man slow pace, we'll just call it that. The very first time I got on the track, I hit one jump and like just bottomed out like crazy, and it wasn't even like I didn't like over jump it or under jump it. I felt like I hit it just right, and I started out with the compression on both ends around 10. Same with the rebound, both ends were around 10. Sag is at 108, forks are 1 millimeter up in the clamps, high speed compression on the shock is at 1.25. That's what I started out with. I went back to the truck immediately, gave it a couple clicks, went and hit a couple more jumps, still too soft, went back, gave it some more clicks, and I ended up at the end of the day at 6 on the fork and 5 on the shock. And honestly, next time I go out, I'm gonna have it at 0s on both the fork and the shock. I think the bottom line here is that for this type of track riding, this bike is just not valved. Hey, that's my boy right there. Hitting it on the 85. Good job, son. Anyways, yeah, this bike is not valved for motocross. What it is valved for is off-road stuff. But we knew that buying the bike, right? So, anyways, so I guess that's the negative. The suspension is not valved for this. But is this what people are buying this bike for? I think I dare say no. What this bike is fantastic at, though, is cornering. It can get in a rut and stick in that rut fairly well. It leans in light and easy on the corners. It can hold the berms really well. The handling, I think, is fantastic. It does great at that. So if you're a guy like me who rides primarily in the mountains and desert and does a track about once a year or so, this bike is fantastic for that. All right, we're gonna do a quick ride review. So we got the bike on the track, a legit track, and it didn't take very long, about exactly one jump, before I realized all of my dampening was too soft. Did one little jump, came back, adjusted, went back out. Long story short, we're gonna count clicks here and see where we are at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm calling it 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's where I started with it sideways. So I'm 6 out. Well, guess what? That's still too soft. Now I'm gonna check my shock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was 5 out. And I'm not gonna do the same thing for the rebound. I'll just check it and put it in the video up here on the left side. But long story short, we got the 23 Beta RR Race Edition onto a track. It was a blast. I love tracks, but she needs more dampening if you want to actually jump stuff. Side note, this is a trick of draining your oil without getting it all over your bike and your skid plate. Just go borrow some of your wife's tinfoil and bend it around so, you know, it doesn't leak everywhere. Anyways, yeah. Power-wise, the bike does fantastic on the track. Power-wise, I was able to like clutch it and rev it and get up and go and jump things like kind of short out of corners and whatever. And it was a blast. I had fun. But yeah, the suspension is just not valved for that kind of thing. If I didn't land absolutely perfect on my landings, then I totally bottomed out, as can be noted by
all these freshy marks up here. But overall, I am loving the Beta for what it is good at and what it was made for. It wasn't made for a motocross track, obviously. But it does well there as long as you don't go too big and you click all your clickers way up. But for the mountain and the desert, I'm liking it more and more every single time I go ride it. The suspension's fantastic. It turns better than my YZ450s do. And yeah, it just really lays over easy on corners. Like on the track, I noticed I could get it in a rut and hold it fairly well. Anyways, lots of fun. Like the bike. It's great for what it is. I like it a lot, but I will probably take my Yamaha next time I go to a track. Another side note, I got the seat off because I'm going to be taking the radiator off and putting this radiator fan on. I did boil the bike over a couple weeks ago, climbing a kind of gnarly hill. And I thought, you know what? Let's put a fan on it. So we are.